Hi, this is Angie Hernandez, certified hypnotherapist, and today we're going on a journey to help you with the feeling of overwhelm. Sometimes we look at an event, maybe a party, maybe the holiday season, maybe our business, and there's so much to do to prepare to be successful that we become totally overwhelmed, and sometimes it leads to a panic where we get nothing done because the job just seems too huge. Or if we do get everything done, maybe you run yourself ragged doing it. Maybe you stay up all night. Maybe you have late nights for a long time. And so a time that should be joyful for you becomes a time when you're upset, frazzled, frustrated, and it really isn't the joy that it should be. So let's do a hypnosis for this feeling of overwhelm. Here we go. Just get relaxed in a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. After all, this is your time, and no one needs anything from you now. This is just for you. And as you relax back, just imagine a blanket or a wave of comfort coming up your body, beginning at your feet and moving slowly up and up and up. And as it does, you feel the calm and relaxation move into your physical body, relaxing all the muscles and tendons in your feet and then your legs, letting go and unwinding in your hips, stomach and chest, knowing that the muscles that surround your digestive organs are relaxing as well, which allows them to do their work in an especially efficient way. Allowing that same peace to come up into your chest and back, and then your shoulders, your neck, and up over your scalp. And now letting go of all the tension that might reside in your facial muscles, like your cheeks and your jaw, even the very small muscles around your eyes and sinuses, around your ears. And how about letting go of those extremely tiny muscles in your inner ear? Yes, even those can relax right now. As you turn inward, allowing the relaxation to move down your arms to your hands and fingers. And noticing that with each breath you go a little deeper, relaxing a little more. Going down, down, down. At 5, turning inward, noticing the change in your breath and breathing. Noticing how the breathing alone assists your relaxation. At 4, beginning to have that buoyant feeling, as if you're floating on air or on water or on bubbles. Just imagine that you feel that you're floating. At 3, your breathing relaxes further, stimulating that relaxation deepness into your whole body. It's a force you cannot resist. You must relax when you breathe in this manner. At 2, inhaling the color of forgiveness. The color of forgiveness being breathed in with each breath, entering your lungs, mixing with the blood, and going out to each and every cell of your body, the color of forgiveness, until you're completely filled with the color of forgiveness. At 1, noticing your exhales are exhaling the color of tension. You're inhaling the color of forgiveness. You're exhaling the color of tension. One color is pressing out the other. And 0, deep sleep. as you go down, down, all the way down, feeling very relaxed. Thinking about overwhelm reminds me of a story. Imagine that you're on a grassy hill with a beautiful sea, a shining sea with beautiful light sparkling off of it to one side. And you see a lovely white castle on the top of the hill. And in this castle, when you're in the top tower, you can hear the birds circling around. Those birds that like flying in the heights, like hawks and eagles, and seabirds that like flying in the downdrifts of the wind. And in this castle lives a benevolent king. He's a very good king, good to his people, and they love and respect him. He's always protected his kingdom from outside invaders who would be ruthless with people. And his people in his kingdom, his subjects, very much appreciate him, and they all help in the way the king needs. He requests help in the form of supplying his armies for periods of times, working for training young people up, and other things. And they gladly do this because he doesn't tax them heavily, and he's kind to them but firm, and they're happy living in this kingdom. But sometimes there are skirmishes at the borders of the king's kingdom, where outsiders who envy the peaceful life of this particular land want to come in and have it for their own. And the king has been able with his armies to put these skirmishes down, always protecting his people. But there comes a time when now the skirmishes are beginning to happen on more than one front at a time. And he's being attacked by 2 sides, then 3 sides, and sometimes more than one per side. And he can go and direct his armies for these skirmishes, but he ends up racing from one end of the country to another to direct his armies. And he's worn out, and he really can't keep up. And he's feeling, at least beginning to feel, rather helpless. And he's beginning to doubt himself and wonder, can I really protect this kingdom of mine? Am I really the king I want to be? Can I do all this? Am I that capable? And he's beginning to wear out and realizing that he really doesn't think he can keep this up. And he doesn't know what to do. As tired as he is, he's having some sleepless nights, and he's up pacing and walking and lost in thinking about all that has to be done. And he wants to protect his people, and he wants their lifestyle to continue on. But he's kind of at a loss at what to do. He's only a man, and he can't keep up. And his enemies know this. And so they're planning to keep pounding him until he's weakened, until he lets go and they can take over. This would not be good for his kingdom. This would not be good for his people. He doesn't know what to do. And one day, where he is, he's at one of the skirmishes when he hears by messenger that another army is riding up in a faraway part of his land. And he's literally tearing his hair out, not knowing what to do. And a very capable man that's younger than him comes in. Several of them do. And they say, "Our king, we see you're distressed. How can we aid you? What can we help you in?" And the king says, "No one can help me. The armies are attacking all at the same time, and I cannot be there to direct the battle. I can't do it." And his aide says, "But sir, you've trained these men. Look at these men before you. You've trained them from young men. Didn't Henry go out at this battle and defend you when you had to be in another place? Didn't George lead the attack when you were separated from part of your army? And he pointed out several of the others who all had been successful when the king could not be directly with them. And he had forgotten that. And the king thanked his aide and said, "Thank you, I didn't remember that. They are capable, but what does that have to do?" And the aide said, Sir, send them out with part of your army to the other skirmish and allow them to direct the battle. They know how. They proved that they know how." And the king was humbled because it was so obvious. He probably knew this in his heart, but somehow he kind of felt like if he wasn't there, the whole kingdom would fall apart. And yet he knew that these men had distinguished themselves in battle. He trusted them. He'd fought beside them and trained them up in all his ways. And he bowed his head and he thanked his aide. He said, "You're right. I can trust these men. They can handle these skirmishes without me." He said, "My king, we need you, but they can, with your direction, be there for you." And he knew this to be true. And so he made them generals, several of them, and he divided his army, sending out the factions with the generals that he knew best worked together. And within a short period of time, they put down these border skirmishes successfully and come together. And the king was allowed to be in a central location where they could send messages back and forth. If they did have issues that they needed his counsel on, they could send birds with messages and messengers on horseback. And that seemed to work very, very well. The king was able to rest, and he was able to see the strengths that his men had. And he was proud of them. And he was humbled in himself, knowing that his way wasn't always the only way. That he had inspired these other men to look at their own talents and to use his methods plus some of their own. And with that, they were even more successful than he could ever have imagined. And he knew within himself that the message was true. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. And after that, he not only sent them out to do separate battlings, which really reduced the amount of skirmishes once the marauders saw how strong they were across their borders, but he also began to seek their counsel in areas that he felt they had some special expertise. Things about planting and crops and selling, importing and exporting. He'd usually trusted his own counsel only in these areas, and his own counsel was quite good. But he found that these younger men who he had trained up had some more on-the-ground experience and imagination, and they could help him and make things even better than he had. And it was a wonderful, worthwhile cause. And he saw that they were strong enough to lead in their own areas. And he began to allow them to do that more and more. He also set them the task of training up young men and young women to do the same in their own areas that they were governing, so that someday, when they could no longer govern, they had young people coming up who could take their place. And the king as well realized this was good counsel for himself. It's okay to ask for help. My way isn't the only way. And as time went on, and the tasks were divided and shared, he remembered that his mother had always said, "Many hands make light work." Many hands make light work. He kind of thought this was a woman's thing, but now he realized how silly that was. Many hands make light work was true for everyone. It was true in a kitchen. It was true in a battle. It was true in the farmland. It was true when you baked a cake. Many hands make light work, and it's okay to ask for help. And because the king learned this lesson and many others, his kingdom prospered and saw a time of peace never before achieved in their history. Great. And I hope you take the lessons that the king learned and apply them to yourself. From here on out, whenever you have a large task ahead of you, whether it's a party, a holiday season, your business, or maybe just getting through your day with many tasks, you'll remember that many hands make light work. You'll remember it's okay to ask for help. And you'll understand as you look at the list of to-dos that one of the first to-dos will be to delegate out jobs to people who are capable with them, making your work much lighter, and accepting that they might have an awesome way to do something that you never even thought of that'll make everything more special. Each and every time your feet hit the floor in the morning, you'll remember to delegate out work and to ask for help, and you'll be more successful and peaceful in your life than ever before. Awesome. And now it's time to come out. At 0, you tend to slip deeper. At 1, coming up a little more, finding your physical body where you're resting. At 2, beginning to orient yourself in the room around you. At 3, take a deep cleansing breath. Here we go. And 4, very alert. 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. That's so great. Yeah. Thanks for being with me and have an awesome day. This is Angie Hernandez, certified hypnotherapist. You can want it, dream it, and make it happen.